Hi, thank you for joining us. My name is Barrister Zahid Jamil. I am a lawyer. I practice in Pakistan, and one of the areas of my specialty is information technology and also intellectual property rights. Today we're going to talk about domain names, or another way to put it is how to protect someone's brand, someone's name on the internet. And we're going to talk about what domain names are. We're going to talk about how they impact individuals. We're going to talk about how domain names impact businesses, entities, anybody who uses the internet, and basic idea about how to protect yourself against infringement, and what are the basic precautions you should take when using domain names or interacting with domain names. So let me start off with first describing what a domain name is. Now, you obviously are logged onto this website watching this show, ciopakistan.com. It's a domain name. The words ciopakistan.com are by themselves a domain name, because they are a name of a domain on the internet that basically is the property of CIO, which is a registered trademark, etc., things of that nature. So, I mean, you could have a person by the name of, say, Zahid Jamil. I could have zahidjamil.com, and that's not a brand name per se, but it's my individual identity, and I've set up my website, and that will be through my name. So, anyway, moving on. So, what kind of domain names are there? There are two basic kinds of domain names. One is a generic top-level domain. So TLDs, or top-level domains, are basically another sort of more technical way of saying domain names, or the end of the domain and the right of the dot. So .com is a GTLD. .net is a GTLD because a generic. .org is a GTLD. So any name with the .org, .com, .net becomes a generic top-level domain. What's the other type? Those are country code top-level domain names, or CCTLDs. So in our case, in Pakistan, for instance, anything with .pk, to write the .pk, would be a country code top-level domain name, and that would be known as a country code domain name. Now, the difference between the two is that they are both coordinated, managed, and operated, or managed actually by an entity internationally known as ICANN. And there are two different regimes, basically, if you will, with regard to both these types of domain names. One, the generics are governed by something that the ICANN has put out as a Universal Dispute Resolution Policy, UDRP, and that's the policy on the basis of which when you buy domain names, this is going to be actually applicable to it. Or the management of CCTLDs, because that is given to local communities, say in Pakistan's .pk, for them to create the policies with regard to that. And so the local CCTLD operator would create the policy with regard to .pk. So that's the basic distinction, and their policies would apply whenever you buy a domain name. Now, what is it that you need to be careful of when you basically register, and how do you register a domain name? Well, the basic way is you get onto the website, you go maybe to the CCTLD's website or their registrars. So the registry, being .pk, would have given the right to other registrars to basically sell these domain names on their behalf. So you'd go to, say, Cybernet, for instance, and try and buy a .pk domain name. So Zahid Jamil would go off to Cybernet and say, zahidjamil.pk, I'd like to buy this. And you'd pay the registrar, you enter into contract with the registrar, who also has a contract with the registry.pk, and on that basis they allow you the access to that domain name. Now, the first thing you will do with that domain name is that you will try on the internet, once you've got the access to it, point that domain name to a certain IP address, because basically the domain name is nothing more than a recognizable, humanly rememberable name which connects to, is associated with, and basically resolves to, technically that's why we resolves to a particular computer, and that computer has an IP address. So a server on which an IP address is configured, what you would do is you'd point your domain name, say zahidjamil.com or .pk, to that IP address, and so what happens is the moment you do that, your domain name starts resolving to that particular server, and whatever's on that server will start displaying on your domain name or your website. That's basically at the end of the day what it effectively becomes. Now, with .com, .org, and .int and other, which are generic TLDs, you can get them on GoDaddy, you can get them from VeriSign, you can get it from a host of other easily available registrars, because remember, these registrars are working on behalf of registries. Registries are the ones that manage the actual .org. So PIR manages the .org, .com is managed by VeriSign. But GoDaddy, for instance, is a registrar. It's the one that's the I don't want to call it reseller, but they're the registrars. They are the ones that you would go to and buy these domain names from. So that's your basic structure of how you would go about buying one. You could use a credit card to do so, depending on what kind of domain name you're purchasing. For a long time in Pakistan, .pk was not purchasable other than by basically making a check payment to others. Now things have changed slowly. So I mean, these are the ways that you would actually acquire a domain name. The most basic mistake or lack of precaution that is undertaken by people who are trying to acquire domain names. And remember one thing I'd like to caution here. You never own a domain name. You only have the right to use it. Okay? Even the registry and then subsequently the registrar, and at the end of the line, you the user, when you have that, you don't actually own it, you can only use it. So remember that there's a distinction. It's not an ownership concept at all. That might be surprising, but that's the way internationally domain names are viewed. Now, once you basically have access to the use of that domain name, the second thing you will do is, how do you make sure that you ensure secure access to the use and the coordination, the management of that domain name? You do that by making sure that either you yourself register that domain name, so the password to that domain name and the use of that domain name will be known to you. One of the basic mistakes that I was saying earlier is that what ends up happening is people ask somebody else in their company or the employees to go register it, so they have the password, they have all the details, they have the rights to basically manage it, or they end up asking some other third-party, outsourced party, well, you're setting up the domain name, I've given you the money to set this domain name up, so you go ahead and register it as well. If a party is actually creating a domain name, well, that's the artwork and the server and the computer and all the look of the domain name that is being managed and being set up by them. I think that you should, and this is advice, is make sure that the actual password to the domain name management should be with you, the owner of that domain name. Again, as I said, the word owner is in a sort of a loose form. It's not an actual ownership, but it's the right to use it. So if you are the person who has a right to use that domain name, you should know the password. Nobody else should know it. If you're a larger company, then the authorized person should have it, nobody else. But as I said, the basic mistake people make is they don't know who has a password, etc. And when these people move on, either they are not with you anymore, or for instance, there could be a dispute between you and that third party or that employee. They have the domain name and password, and at the end of the day, they control everything related to that domain name. So one of the things to individuals, organizations, and especially businesses who want to protect their trademark and their presence on the internet is to ensure that the password to your domain name and its management is with you, you control it, and it is as secure as you would have your ATM PIN number. Make sure you do that. So that would be my advice with regard to that. The other thing is that if you're especially a business, others would also want this protection, especially a business, you would not just want to take that particular name, say ZahidJameel.com, and protect that. You would go and acquire, if you can, ZahidJameel.net, ZahidJameel.org, ZahidJameel.museum, or whatever else you want to basically protect yourself from, because somebody else can go and get that domain name. So what people in businesses do yet generally across the world is they hold a portfolio. All they want to protect, say, ZahidJameel.com, they will also acquire the rights to ZahidJameel some other TLD, and that way you protect your presence on the internet so that nobody else acquires it. So that's known as defensive registrations, to make sure that nobody else basically can acquire those or squat upon those domain names. So it's very important for people who are managing domain names to make sure that they are protecting the brand.